Good morning, student. Today we are going to discuss on topic Ascidian tadpole or Ascidian larva. Now, in last class we discussed about the Protochordata, different subphylums or the phylum of Protochordata, that is the Cephalochordata and the Urochordata. Now, today we are going to discuss about the Ascidian tadpole or the Ascidian tadpole larva, which is the larva of the Herdmania. Now, before that, it is important to know about the what is meant by tadpole. So, this tadpole term we commonly used in from even from our 10th class or 9th class, or before that, even from the starting from the 5th or 6th class, we use the term tadpole. So, what is mean by actual meaning of the tadpole? In rainy season or in monsoon, we observe that when the in our ditches or in pond, we observe the small creature, the fish-like creature, or that fish-like creature. It is the larva of the frog, so which is seen everywhere. So that is the early developmental stage of that frog. It is called as a tadpole, or it is called as a tadpole larva. Like that, the marine organism called as a herdmania, in which the small early developmental larva which is seen, it is called as the Ascidian larva. Now, how that Ascidian larva is appear? How is the morphology of that Ascidian larva? We see in the next slide. Now, this is the structure of the Ascidian larva. Here, the two diagrams are seen. These images I pick up from the internet. Now, here the staining is done, so it is reddish in color. Actually, the color of this larva, it is the transparent in color, transparent. Now, this is the actual picture of this larva. This is transparent. Now, when we say the division of body or we divide the body of this organism, then this larva is majorly it is divided in two parts. One is called as the head or trunk, or and the remaining part is called as the tail. This is the portion, elongated portion. It is called as the head, and this remaining portion it is called as the tail. Now, schematic view of this larva, which is seen like that, and this is also the view of this larva. Both the comparable picture I keep here or put here. Now, in upper diagram, you observe that we start from the anterior end. This one is the anterior one, and this is called as the posterior end, or it is called as a caudal end. Now, in this larva, we see that this larval stage after the hatching, this larval stage lasts for 1 or 2 to 3 hours. After that, the metamorphosis gets started. Now, term metamorphosis I use again and again. What is meant by metamorphosis? The metamorphosis is nothing but the change in the form during their life cycle. Now, if any organism, we take the example of frog, because frog, this example are a routine example, so I take the example of the frog. Now, during the developmental stage of frog, when the hatchlings, after the hatching from the eggs, we see that the small fish-like creature are formed, that is called as the larva. Now, this larva is appear just like a fish, in which the notochord, nerve cord, and the pharyngeal gill slits are present. So these are nothing but the characteristics of the chordate. But later on, after the development, these larvae get metamorphosed or get changed into the adult one. And this change in form, it is called as the metamorphosis. Same case or same situation is happened in this case or in this larva, in which at first the larval stage is seen and later on it gets changed into the adult form. Now, in this case, we observe that this is the front or anterior portion, it is called as the head, and remaining part is called as the trunk. Now, anteriorly we observed that this protruding structure, it is dorsoventrally it is 2 in number, and the ventrolateral side it is single in number, means total 3 such a type of papilla are seen. So these papilla are called as the adhesive papilla. Adhesive papilla. This portion is called as the adhesive papilla. Look toward the cursor here. I am showing through the cursor. This portion is called as the adhesive papilla, and this is the 3 in number. Now, role of this adhesive papilla is very much important it get attached to the substratum during the course of the metamorphosis. Now above this adhesive papilla, we get this lining, this portion. It is called as a tunic or the test. Thin membrane, transparent membranous structure which is seen here. Above this reddish portion, this is slightly darkly bluish in color, and this portion, look toward the cursor, and this portion surround the whole body, and this is called as the test or the tunic. Tunic. It is called as the tunic. Now taste or role of this taste or tunic is it is in the protective in function. So it is the protective in function. Now size of this larva is very much important. What is the size of this larva? The size of this larva, it is the 1.5 mm in length. This is the size of the larva. That is the tadpole larva. Now after that, this adhesive papilla, there are two important or the important some organs which is seen, and this organs is called as the eye spot, or it is called as the, this one is called as the cerebral vesicle. Now in next slide I will show you, just we see the size of the larva, shape of the larva, appearance of larva is also we see. Then body division. In picture we see the body division of this larva. This larva is divided in two parts. One is the head and another is the tail. This is the body division, head and the tail. Now in head we observe the adhesive papillae, and later on the important part is called as the sensory papillae. This is the 1 minute. Now in slide I will show you. Now sensory vesicle, where the sensory vesicle is present. Now this portion is called as the sensory vesicle. This part is called as the sensory vesicle. Now in sensory vesicle of this larva, here we get the one is the ocellus, or it is called as the simple eye, in which the lens is present. Also the retina is seen. This is called as the ocellus. And the role of this sensory papillae, is it is to receive the light, means it receives the light. So it is the phototaxis in nature. This larva shows the phototactic movement. The taxis is nothing but the movement and orientation of the organism, and phototaxis means the movement and orientation of organism toward the source of light. It is called as the phototaxis phenomena, and this phototaxis phenomena is seen up to the metamorphic stage, or 1 to 3 hours. Later on it settle on the any substratum, and it shows the geotactic movement or georeceptor which is seen. And another which is the point or organ which is present inside the sensory vesicle or the sensory cone, it is called as the statolith or the otolith. It is called as the statolith or the otolith, and it is the georeceptor which is present. The movement, georeceptor means the movement and orientation of organism, or it is called as the geotaxis, the movement and orientation of organism towards the gravity of the earth. It is called as the geotaxis. So sensory vesicle which bears the ocellus as well as the statocyst, and here we show this is the point. This point is called as the ocellus, and this is called as the statocyst, which is enclosed in one of the chamber or the capsule like structure. Now next to that, another important point which is present, it is called as the brain vesicle, or it is called as a brain. A brain is nothing but it is the conical solid mass of the nerve cell. It is the conical solid mass of the nerve cell, and which extend from the entire part of the tail. That the next to that, this part is called as a visceral cone, means which is extend from this part to the up to this part. It is called as a visceral cone. This part here the nerves are extended, so it is called as the visceral cone. So sensory cone, or it is called a brain vesicle, or the second is or it is called a cerebral cone and the visceral cone. These two structure which is seen in the tadpole. Now next to that, that is the habit and habitat of this larva. Now it is the when we seize the movement, when we observe that it is pelagic in movement, which moves from the upper surface to lower surface. But during the course of the metamorphosis, it gets settled on the lower surface, or it is the highly active in nature, means it is highly active, and later on it gets settled on the one of the substratum, and later on the metamorphosis is start, and the metamorphosis is nothing but the retrogative metamorphosis is seen. Not means some organs of the body get casted and their form get changed. So details about the again the detailed structure is also seen on the body of, on in the body of that particular larva, that is the endostyle, then branchial sac, heart, intestine, stomach, notochord, details about the alimentary canal and the respiratory system we see in the next topic. Thank you.